InternationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting episode of The Rational Investor. Hopefully you can hear me right now. No camera again today, but at least I am here, unlike last week when I kind of was like super jet lagged and stuff, and I just overslept and ended up missing my own show. So here I am making up for it. Very sorry, guys. Still having some issues with the camera, but we should get that fixed by next week. And I will be back on camera so you can all see my lovely face. I know everybody misses that. I know we're at a weird time today, 12. Next week we might go back to 10 for Thursdays. Not 100% sure. We'll see. I'm okay with the 12 time right now. I've been going to bed a little bit later, so we'll see. Chris, is the chat is loaded. Okay. Hi, Constantine. If anybody's in the chat, oh, okay, wait. Let me modify my mic, guys. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I'm not using the right mic.
All right. We've got the better microphone. I should sound amazing now. I was using the crappy headphone mic, but it should sound much better. But now I can't hear Chris. Chris, can you talk? Oh, yeah. Okay, I can hear him. Hello, Cotter. Hello, Kitchen and Craft. Hello, Holly. Hello, Borislav. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Lots to talk about today. The market has done some crazy stuff the last couple hours. Have you guys been watching this on the lower time frames? Like, this has been, I mean, I don't know if I should just jump into this or if I should talk about the econs and stuff and kind of go in order. But man, I'm just going to talk about the market really quick. Like, look at this 5-minute chart right here. This is just, I don't know why there's so much space being taken up here, by the way, I want to get rid of some of this. I'm going to clean up my chart, I think, in the future because I don't like this much. Maybe I can just maximize the panel. Let me do that. Oops. No, that's not what I want. Okay, it's fine. Can you see this? Like, look at this extreme oscillation that happened here. Massive run up on the news. What did they do? They ran the highs up here and then swift, super fast reversal. It was worse on NQ. Look at what they did here. NQ took out all of the highs from the past week and is just now, did it even take, I think it took out the all-time high right here. Just barely took out this all-time high and now is full on reversing. I knew that this was a trap, but I didn't expect it to happen so fast. I thought they would at least wait until like Biden started talking. So if we look at news for today, right? Let's go to the Forex Factory news, right? So did they even update it with the Biden talk? Let me refresh. It's not even in here. We had unemployment claims at 8:30, right? They came in the green under expectations, which is shocking to me. We have the ECB at 10:15, and the market went on a rally since then. And then Biden is supposed to talk at 2 p.m. They don't even have it on here. So that's probably going to cause some gyrations in the market. So be careful around that time. And when I say 2 p.m., I believe it's around 2 p.m. Eastern time. I will probably be sleeping by then and have all my trades closed. But prepare yourself accordingly. Let's get back to, let's look at a couple things. You guys know I always look at this kind of stuff. So let's look at investor sentiment. Anything interesting happening here? Big drop in the bullishness. So that doesn't really give us too much data, except that investors are still too bullish in comparison to bearishness. I mean, there's a huge neutral number, meaning people have no idea what's happening. How many of you have no idea what's happening right now? Who thinks, let's take a little survey. Who thinks we're going to go up? We're going to be higher in the next 2 weeks, and who thinks we're going to be lower? See if I can at least get like 5 answers. And yes, stocks do trade at crypto speed these days, Cotter. All right, Holly says lower. I got one person. If you guys don't respond, I'm going to assume everyone else is in the neutral camp, which means 80% of you have no idea. Only one person willing to stick their neck out here. Okay, one more feeling lower. Neutral to lower. Constantine thinks higher. Okay, interesting. These responses are concerning for my bear thesis. Solid neutral. All right, doesn't hurt to be honest. So it looks like I would say we've got mostly bears in here, one bull, and a couple neutrals, two neutrals. Okay, interesting. So we'll talk about that more as we go through all the data here. So something I wanted to point out, I always look at options data, right? So we've got options expiry tomorrow. Look how many puts we have back here, and look at the calls. So if we look at the S&P, right? So here's the S&P right here. Do you see where they rallied from and then they stopped at, and where they dropped it to and they stopped it at? You see how it's this range, 47.60 basically to 47.40. If we look at the calls, your wall is at 48,800 basically, but you've also got 47.50. Your max pain is right in this area, 47.50, with a mini wall at 47.70. So, and your bottom is 4,700. They want to be in this area for maximum pain going into options expiry tomorrow. So it makes sense that, you know, what is happening today is happening, where they're running stops on both sides, but essentially keeping the market in the same spot so that options expire worthless going into tomorrow. I do believe that's a big part of what's happening right now. If we look at reverse repos, I haven't talked about reverse repos in a bit, but it continues to decline. So we're at 583 or 590 billion right now since the latest update, which means that in about 10 days, we went down a little bit around 90 billion. So if we can assume that we'll say every 15 days, this drops by 100 billion, that means that we only have another 3 months or so of this, where it will run out by February, March, by April. So that's also something to keep in mind, that we are running out of the reverse repo. I'm just going to keep an eye on that. We're going to keep talking about it to see if there's any big drops and any alarm bells go off. Okay, so we looked at all of that. We looked at Forex Factory, crypto fear and greed. Still in the greed area. Not really surprised by this. Let me refresh it just to be sure. Yeah, we're still in greed. Last week was extreme greed. Explains why we're dropping. We will get into Bitcoin later. A lot to say about that. I know that Bitcoin is dumping right now. If we look at Bitcoin, right, let me do a quick preview. Yeah, look at that. Huge dump. Not really surprised by what's happening with Bitcoin there. This looked like a consolidation for a move lower. I'll do a detailed analysis near the end of the show. Right now I want to focus on what's going on with the S&P on these higher time frames. So let's just go to a 4 hour. So I'm watching the RSI on this 4 hour to see if we get a breakout and a move higher. Right now it's like this here. Right now it's just barely breaking it, trying to push above this line, but it's getting rejected. So this area right here, this 47.50 area is extremely critical. If we push above it, then I don't see any issue. I don't see why we couldn't have an ABCD like this occur, where price goes to a new high up to 48.50. I don't see why that couldn't happen. But if we get rejected, then we are heading lower, and this M is confirmed. See how we hit the 1.618 from this top of this M. 1.618 is right here, and we bounce. That's not a surprise. Eventual target would be down here, 45.89. See how it aligns with this major support level? Also not a surprise. And look at where 2.618 lines with, right? This is also going to be a resistance level. So we've got multiple levels here, support/resistance. Support level, support level. So not really a surprise there at all with how these fibs are all lining up. That's what I'm looking at on the downside. And I am leaning bearish until I see us break out on this 4 hour. The market's moving so fast right now that you actually have to look at these lower time frames. The higher ones just don't, they're too slow. If we look at a daily chart, I'm going to pull this up here. I'm going to hide this because we only want this on the 4 hour. We don't need it on the daily, confusing you guys. Let me clean this up a bit. Okay. We're going to make RSI a little bit bigger. I'm going to zoom out. We've kind of got this like upward trending wedge forming. And you can see how we ran into this, the top of this trend line. And we've just been rejected. And we're forming this while we had a higher high in price, just barely, just a little baby higher high. We made a lower high with RSI, creating our major divergence here. And now price is fighting with what I consider my VIP line level. So it's asking, okay, am I going to W here or am I going to break down? And I'm leaning towards breakdown, unless that this is where we go back to the 4 hour and what happens with this 4 hour RSI. Is it do we break higher or do we break down? That's basically all we're waiting for. And I can't even, I wish I could predict which way it's going to go, but I can't. So that's what we're looking at. And I mean, the M here is obvious, right? So if we M out here, then we're really going lower. That M points to down here, all the way at the beginning of the move. So that'll be a big deal if that happens. And that's what we're watching and waiting for. And it all comes down to that 4 hour chart. So, you know, feel free to duplicate it yourselves. Keep an eye on it throughout the week. Let's see what happens. I don't think we're going to get a resolution until at least at minimum Monday. I don't see a resolution happening before options expiry happens. So I'm just kind of watching and waiting on the sidelines. Also watching, you know, NASDAQ 100. So this one is also interesting to watch. And it looks like part of it looks like it wants to make new highs. And the other part looks like it's just a fake out and it's getting ready to roll over. And this is just all a big distribution since basically December 20th, your whole month of distribution. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing on the NASDAQ 100. You can see even with the monthly or weekly chart, you kind of have a divergence, right? Oops. Like this, right? So you've got here. And then you've got the major difference with price, right? Look at that huge difference. So something is fishy. Something does not smell right with this market to me. It just does not pass the sniff test. So I'm a little bit concerned, and I think everyone should be a bit cautious up here. This is the area for, I believe, taking profits and not the area for putting on fresh longs. I think that was down here back in November of 2022. That was the time to kind of put on those long trades and ride it up. Now this is kind of the unwind of the great bear squeeze. I call this the great bear squeeze. 2023 was the bear squeeze. Okay, so that's the S&P. We can look at the dollar. We can glean some stuff from the dollar. So the dollar is majorly broken out on the daily chart. It's extremely bullish. I mean, if the dollar is looking this good, how can we be bullish on the stock market? That kind of leans. This gives credit to the bear case. I was about to say bull case. This gives credit to the bear case, where I mean, you saw the 9 came in right here, so it makes sense. We've got a reversal. We're hitting the 50 moving average. As you can see, it provided resistance in the past. If this can push higher, we'll hit 106, and then we'll quickly like rocket all the way up to potentially 116. And that's kind of what I'm looking for here, which makes me not only bearish on the market, but also bearish on gold. So let me look at gold really quick. Oh, sorry guys. Oh, maybe 12 is a little late for me. I am feeling a bit tired, but it's fine. Do I want to go into detail about the US dollar? Give price targets and stuff like that. I mean, really, it's just a short shot up to 106. It's going to play in that area, huge resistance, and then we should push higher and have it'll quickly shoot up to around 116. Those are kind of my targets. I think those numbers make sense. That's what I'm looking for with the dollar. But really, what you are concerned about are things like gold. Where is gold going to go when the US dollar pushes higher? And we have this giant gold uptrend that's been going on since 2022. And the bottom of that is 1890. So I could see gold roll over all the way to 1890 if what I predict happens with the US dollar actually happens. And you can see on a weekly chart how it's really, gold really has kind of started to roll over. It doesn't look great here at all. I mean, this is not something you want to be longing, right? We've got this trend line that broke down right here. And now all we're doing is we just retested the underside of the trend line. I think that's inherently bearish. For me, this is all very bearish. I don't see any bullishness here. The RSI broke down. I would use this reversal opportunity as a opportunity to get short. And where would we expect the market to go if we're in a short? Let's look at what our targets could potentially be. I mean, I like to just look at the previous range. I've got major support levels already labeled. So if we look at the previous range, we go from the high all the way to the low. This is a real print. Did gold really go to 2140? Let me see something here. Wait a second. I don't trust that one print. Did it really do that? Okay. That's a bit of a surprise, that kind of move. All right, let me try to change this so you guys can see it a little bit clearer. Okay, there we go. So where would gold go if it's going to break down? 50% is right here, which is a bit of a support, right? And then we've got 61.8, which is also lines up with here. Look at how well these all line up. 78.6 is right here at 1884. So gold, I could see doing something like this where it just rolls over and then we hit that 50% and we play in that zone. Okay, we roll over again, bounce, and then roll over straight down to this level and we like go through and then we head higher. I could see something like that happening with gold. That's a really rough prediction. But you could take profits. If you're in a short, you could take profits at any point along the way on kind of like the staircase down. And again, this goes along with as long as the US dollar takes off. Gold should do this kind of pullback. It's kind of almost a too obvious setup to me, where I'm concerned that it's so obvious that it might not work. But that's what I'm seeing, and that's what I'm going to be hunting for. I'm going to be looking for shorts in gold, and I think this area right up here is actually a great area. If I took a short, let's say we took a short right here, and we set our stop right above the highs, and just a target to this 50%. I mean, that's a 7-to-1 risk reward ratio trade. It's not a bad trade. So just an idea of something that you could just take a market order right now, and that's your target, and there's your stop. So you could do this 6 or 7 times, and as long as you eventually hit this 1980 target by the 7th time, you still break even. Oh, there you go. There's gold. Are there any stocks I want to look at? I'm trying to think if there's anything I want to look at. I mean, I always like to look at NVDA, but NVIDIA's annoying me because it never goes down. It's just like up only forever. Up only since I started paying attention to it. It's pretty crazy here. It looked like it was really going to break down here back in October and December area, and it just never did. And you could see how all these time frames are super oversold weekly, or overbought weekly, daily, 4 hour, 8 hour, 12 hour, super overbought. So interesting to see, and about to hit a TD9 on a bunch of them. The daily is about to hit a TD9. So likely NVIDIA is maybe finally getting close to a top out point. I don't even want to call it at this point, because every time I even think about NVIDIA topping out, it just makes a new high. So maybe a stock to kind of avoid, simply because it's unstoppable to the upside. But the fact that I'm saying that means that, maybe it's time to short it. But not yet. I think you need some kind of divergence to form. I think this daily is too strong. The only thing I really have is the TD8 that's come in, and the fact that the higher time frames are overbought. That's really all we have to go on. Sorry, guys. From a bear standpoint, so I would wait on price structure for that one. Apple. I mean, maybe we look at Netflix. Netflix just kind of chilling up here. Nothing big happening. How far are we into this? I'm 15 minutes, 21 minutes in. Oh, wow. Okay. So I'm going to skip going over any other stocks. We can do that in the after party. I will just jump straight to Bitcoin, because I know that's why a lot of people are here. Bitcoin, okay, if we go to a daily chart, does not look good. Bitcoin looks very sick. And if it loses this 50-day moving average, I mean, it's a quick free fall to 3,300, the 200-day. Like I don't see any reason why it couldn't fall very quickly down to here. I mean, 3,800, 3,700 can also be tagged. There is support here. Don't get me wrong, but it could slice through and go straight to 33,000, 34,000. So just keep that in mind, that Bitcoin does not look great. And by association, alts probably also don't look. I mean, some maybe look decent, but others maybe not so much. If we go to a 4 hour, you can see how this kind of setup where price rolls over and then it just stagnates and the RSI looks like this. Traditionally, this is a very, very bearish sign where RSI is not fully recovering the way we'd like to see it. And all it's doing is price is taking a pause and it's getting ready to make a new low. So, it could be something like this, where the next move goes to here, right? That lines up with that support. So that's the 3,700 area. I wouldn't be surprised if we hit that. I would definitely not be longing Bitcoin here. I think it would be a very dangerous, irresponsible play. And it's much better to, kind of, if you're not already in a short, kind of just wait on the sidelines, and see what happens. I don't think this is an area to be taking on longs. Although it's not a bad risk reward trade if you took a long right here, simply because we're at the lows of the range, right? So you could always, if you're a Bitcoin bull, you could always set your stop below the ultimate low there and set a target, even just at the range high, and you're still almost at a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio. From a purely statistical standpoint, that's not terrible. But from a technical standpoint, this looks bad. I don't like it at all. The daily is absolute garbage. 3-day is breaking down as well. Weekly looks like it's reversing. You had a 9 come in. I mean, look at how this is an ugly weekly candle. And then if we look at the monthly, look at this monthly candle. Imagine if we reverse. I'm gonna do this. Let's look at, did we ever have a monthly candle this ugly? We had this candle. This was a doji. Did we ever have like a full reversal candle like this? I guess down here in January 2018, and I guess also July 2019. These type of candles are generally topping candles. So if you are a Bitcoin bull, you do not want to see this, and you better pray that there will be some kind of reversal or some kind of something here that pushes price higher, because otherwise this is a potential like topping pattern. So not great for the bulls. And I just couldn't recommend longs at all. We're actually short at TRI per our certain indicators. So this is I don't know how else to describe it. Let's look at Ethereum. I know people have been crazy about Ethereum, and it did perform better after the ETF approval. Nothing to glean from a daily. It doesn't look that different from Bitcoin to me. 3-day does show divergence happening here on RSI. So also another bearish sign. Am I seeing anything else? No, it looks kind of like a copy paste of Bitcoin. Let's look at total 3 to get an idea of the alts. Oops. I can type it right. Total 3. Yeah, again, alts don't look great either. I mean, this was your rollover point. I had this RSI trend line drawn. It's rolling over from there. And it looks like it's trying to push through the VIP level. And if it pushes through that, then it's basically game over, right? I mean, maybe not game over forever, but at least for a while. Yeah, you can see this weekly, how it's still holding kind of onto an uptrend. I'm going to delete some of this stuff. This is a mess. Actually, that one I think I want to keep. Let's go to a weekly. Yeah, you can see we came down to the 78.6, but I wanted to see us come down to 88.6. 2 potential divergences. Yeah, it doesn't look that different from Bitcoin and Ethereum. It looks bad. Nothing about this is good that I'm seeing. Pushed through below the trend line, reversed and tagged the underside of the trend line, and now is pushing down again. I mean, that's a very traditional bearish setup for me. If we assume this is an M top, then the bottom is projected to be down here at that original bottom target at 185. So let's look at a potential trade for this. What would that look like with that target being the case? Let's say you shorted from right here. You say your stop above the high right here, and your target is that previous low right there. 6.5 to 1 risk reward ratio. Not bad. I mean, let's say you even did just half that. You went for 3 to 1 risk reward. Not bad at all. 30% return, 30% move. And you're only risking 9.5. I don't think it's a bad trade. I mean, you could wait and make it better. And you could just do like that. And then you've got like a 4 to 1 on the halfway point. And then where's that one? Yeah, about this area. And then you can get a 7 to 1, full 7 to 1 risk reward ratio. Not bad. Not bad at all. Do I want to talk about any other coins, or I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about to try to help you guys navigate the insanity here. Or do I just save the secret tidbits for the after party for all of the amazing members that help keep TRI from dying? NQ, S&P, we went through gold, we went through the dollar. I mean, there's stocks that I want to talk about, and there's a couple crypto coins I want to talk about. But I like to talk about specifics in the after party rather than, the public show. I think it's good for a general overview. All right. I think I'm going to call it here. I will see everyone in the after party. If you're not already a member of the site, consider signing up, joining a free 30-day trial. You can jump in and come right into the after party on Discord. And I'll be happy to talk about any stock or crypto coin that you guys want to hear about, at least from a TA perspective. Fundamentals, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what the fundamentals are when people ask me about like some kind of latest poop meme coin or Pepe something. Okay. Hope you guys have a great day. And I will see you in a couple minutes in the after party.